Did you know that the average lasting marriage is valued at around $100,000? Marriage sees people engage in long-term relationships characterized by strong and mutually rewarding commitments. Some of the benefits partners expect from unions include security, recognition, gratitude, and the expression of love, all these being condensed into the protective perspective of marriage. The benefits associated with marriage arise from protections against adverse life events and the economies of scale associated with the division of labor and specialization in the home. Noteworthy, specialization provides the perfect conditions for the accumulation of human capital required in the labor market, the most common evidence being the fact that those in unions report higher median incomes compared to the single ones. The human capital benefits of marriage, also called the marriage income premium, are explained by the fact that men with higher earning potentials are more likely to find a partner and settle down. Becker's theory of marriage predicts that the gains made in marriage are associated with the differences in couples' earnings, with the reasoning behind it being differences in earning potentials necessitate the division of labor and specialization in the home, thereby making participating in the labor market beneficial. Men in marriages that contain specialization are as satisfied with their unions as those in marriages without specialization. However, women in homes with gender role specialization report greater satisfaction than those in which specialization is missing. Specialization-based differences in male and female happiness are explained by the fact that women still do more housework whether they participate in the labor market or not. As such, those in households where they don't have to specialize often end up being happier as they aren't as stretched and frustrated as their working counterparts.
The breadwinning woman. In Africa today, it is not uncommon for women to be breadwinners in their marriages. Now, a breadwinner is someone who earns the most income. And in some extreme cases, the breadwinner is also someone that is the sole earner. Now, most of the women I work with are sitting on this table. So it is a common occurrence. We are no longer in the 60s or 70s, where it is typical to label women as stay-at-home moms, teachers, nurses, petty traders. These are now old school. If you are a woman sitting on this table, you should be commended. Well done. It is an honor, a privilege to have what people need. It also takes a lot of patience and hard work to be successful in your career or your business. So well done, girl.
The thing with income and a couple's happiness levels is quite interesting. The male breadwinner female homemaker model has long been thought to benefit men based on the argument that working outside the home gives men financial power, which translates into the ability to influence public life. However, modern research shows that with power comes responsibility, which translates into more burden for the men. Women have also experienced the pressure that comes with power since more choice has complicated women's lives.
More and more women becoming the primary or a lot more as far as money goes, right?
And we want to celebrate this. I am in this position. I make more in my marriage. But I had a lot of questions, and I've been covering the personal finance field for over 10 years. This was the first time where I found myself and others facing some serious conundrums, because what we found is that when she makes more, there's more divorce, more infidelity. She can feel like she's doing it all and begin to feel resentful of him. He can feel emasculated.
Right, but you say that there is no way around it. Female breadwinners have to face the fact that pretty much there's no chance to have it all. I mean, there have to be some trade-offs.
For everyone, really.
Right.
I think what I find is that when she makes more, the stress levels really increase. She's bringing home the bacon, and then she's still taking on this double shift coming home, trying to be at the forefront of all of the other tasks like being mom, being wife, being good to herself. And that's important, but I think the quote of having it all is sort of unrealistic, literally. I try to talk about making it work in the book, and that done sometimes is better than perfect.
Well, wait a minute, you're talking about but making more. Doesn't the extra money help alleviate or allay some of those stresses?
Well, you would think it can in some ways and it can't in others. I mean, in some ways, yes, having more money provides you with more resources, but it also, money has always been a source of contention in relationships.
Yeah. Women are no longer scrubbing the floors at home. We are bosses, we are entrepreneurs, we make boss moves. And I feel like that is the new normal in today's society, and men just need to get with it. Get with it or get lost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The paradox of declining female happiness sheds light on the fact that as women have been presented with more choice and freedom outside the home, they have become less happy overall. Traditional women used to base their happiness on their family and the home, essentially complementing men. For modern women to be happy, they first compare themselves to men, then gauge the success of their careers, then compare themselves to other women, and then determine how well they're doing as mothers.
A consequence of role reversal that isn't often talked about or discussed. And that consequence is breadwinner depression. And breadwinner depression is essentially when a woman is the sole provider for herself and or her children, or the main financial provider in a relationship with a man. And this is a real depression, you guys, that happens to many single mothers and married women and single women and women who are in relationships with low value men who cannot provide for them. And being a do-it-all, sole financial provider, or being a woman who out-earns her man requires a woman to dwell in and to live in her masculine, which is another consequence and side effect of breadwinner depression. And a woman will never be at her best when she is in her masculine for long, extended periods of time, right? In fact, many women are at their worst when they are wearing the pants along with the belt and matching masculine shoes. And women who dwell in their masculine, ladies, for long periods of time often commonly experience extreme frustration, fatigue, and burnout. And though not always, we normally see these kinds of detrimental, imbalanced relationships in Blackistan with Black women, because Black women are groomed to be independent and self-sufficient to their own detriment. And Black women are groomed to be the boss and the leaders of their manless families. And Black women are groomed to be night and day and sun up and sun down, work horses and mules with no breaks in between. And Black women are groomed to be the head of the household and are groomed to hold the fort down without the assistance of capable men as a badge of honor. But living a life of role reversal always backfires, ladies, because when a woman is in her masculine, not only is it very stressful, but it is also very unnatural.
It seems like breadwinners are the least happy people in any union, evidenced by the fact that even men whose wives out-earn them report being happier than those who earn more than their wives. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and psychologists from the University of Connecticut, when women take up most of the financial responsibilities in their unions, both wives and husbands experience a boost in well-being. Conversely, when men are the breadwinners, a couple's overall well-being declines. While feminists and like-minded people try make a case for the existence of male privilege, an emerging body of research is showing how men performing gender is actually harmful to them.
I think when she makes more, the assumption is that, oh, well, her husband's also working and bringing in a good income. He may not be working.
Right.
And so it's very specific to every family.
Well, you have some rules in the book. If we could go over those, and if you could walk us through some of them. Okay, so you say, number one, level the financial playing field.
Very, very important. So it's not about just the money. Sometimes it's about the emotion. And remember, men, generally speaking, they're conditioned socially to provide in a relationship, and often that's meant financial. So if his income is not as significant, he may feel left out. He may feel like, what's my purpose? So you have a couple things to tackle here. You want to address the financial reality of paying your bills and saving for money, but also recognize that his money is significant. So what I talk about is level the financial playing field. Her money, which might be a little bit bigger, could go to day-to-day stuff, kind of keep the lights on, put the food on the table. His money still has meaning. Attach it to big goals like a savings account or a 401k or the next car you're going to buy, so he can go and reflect on that and say, I actually afforded that big purchase for our family. And the couples that thrive most when she makes more are the ones who don't hold on to these stereotypical gender roles.
You have to adapt.
You have to adapt.
Well, yeah, you talk about adapting, but also finally you talk about compartmentalizing work and home.
Very important for women. Men do this pretty well. You know, work is work and home life is home life. I think that when she makes more in her marriage, that doesn't necessarily mean she's making more than the guy next to her in the cubicle at work. You know, we still have the gender pay gap at work. So how does she secure her income? That's so important to her family. You got to compartment.
His money is how the lifestyle of the family is determined. And I said, so if your wife made more money and she could afford $1 million home and you could afford a $50,000 home, which home? He said, we'd live in a $50,000. Wow. That his wife could not be the person who brought home the bacon. Now, he's been married 23 beautiful years, but a lot of men apparently still think that way.
Yeah. It is really hard when you think about the centuries of social conditioning where men have been told in order to be a good man, a good husband, you must provide. And providing in that context has exclusively meant providing financially. Men and women both want to provide, right? And women have also been conditioned, right, to provide in the home.
Right.
So let's also remember that while men in this study have been discovered to have higher stress levels when their wives are making more, I've done a lot of research, women are also sort of unsettled by this as well as the financial breadwinners in relationships in some cases, because this is also new to them. This is not something that was modeled for them. We don't have the language and the communication.
You've gone through this personally.
I've gone through this personally. And, you know, here I am, someone who's covered personal finance for her entire career. I don't mind talking about money. Money's not an issue in my life as far as communicating around it. But when I arrived in my own relationship, making more than my then fiance, now husband, I was sort of at a loss for how to communicate around this. I also felt like I was letting down my family, my mother, who wanted to raise, you know, a strong woman, but also kind of hoped that I would be taken care of.
Right.
As a Middle Eastern woman, that's kind of the norm, that you marry a man, even no matter how much you're making, that you're still going to marry up. And,
well,
what
and,
does that
by the way,
mean,
I don't
right?
think it's just Middle Eastern. I mean, it's
It's
societal.
worldwide.
Yeah, we get conditioned to believe that. And I've dated, you know, someone that at the time I made more money than, and then people kept referencing him as like, oh, she's the gold digger. And I'm thinking, I make more money than him, you know?
I've had a boss who used to see how much I make and he'd go, your husband's a lucky man.
I've had that happen.
And that's so inappropriate. We have these double standards. But here's the thing. I think this is something we need to celebrate.
Right.
This is a trend that is only increasing. And think of the opportunities for relationships when there isn't this pressure that only one person, the man, has to make all the money.
So they say if you ask a married couple who earns more in the relationship, they may not tell the whole truth. A new study shows that married couples don't want to admit when wives out-earn their husbands. Is that you? Well, according to new research from the U.S. Census Bureau, if the wife earns more, both spouses were more likely to inflate the husband's earning power and minimize the wife's. And this held true for all income brackets. I mean, I'm talking races and also ages. This was the same across the board. So how many husbands make more than their wives? Well, in America, about 69%, and that's actually down from 87% in 1980. At the same time, 71% of Americans said it was important for a man to be the breadwinner in relationships. And I'll be the first to say, you know, I'm not married or I don't have a husband or anything. Yeah. But at this point, it's 2018. Women are the ones who are achieving a lot more money than their men, and it's okay.
That's a big statistic, 69% from 80-something%.
Yes.
In the past men are still leading the charge.
Men are still leading the charge for now.
Well, I'm curious, without getting too much into the finances, as married men, what do you think about this?
It doesn't bother me in the least. She can make as much bread as she wants. That's not the case right now, but I wouldn't mind if she made more money than I do.
It wouldn't do anything to your ego?
Not at all, because it all comes into the same household.
Okay.
Doesn't bug me at all.
My wife and I were kind of like on a little bit of a graph. Back in the day, I was kind of way up there, and then as Mama kept going, doing her thing, now it's kind of going like this.
And how does that? Are you okay with that as a man?
Doesn't bother me one bit because everything goes into one account, and we all take care of the finances and the shopping and whatnot. She makes more than me, but she also spends a lot more than me. So.
Isn't that funny that you were the one to give the loan years ago?
Yeah.
And you still haven't been paid back.
That's right.
I'm more interested in the women, their take on it, because there's a stigma in our community that if a woman makes more than a man, he's kind of looked down as like kind of lesser than. And so I'd want to know the female take on it.
No, I have a personal experience with that. I think when you're in a household like that, it is not supposed to be mentioned. You don't talk about it. You certainly don't tell other friends about it.
I'm just waiting for that useless man to come back, and then we leave. Wait, I saw you the day they go walk.
Hey, honey. Good evening. Hi, Ngozi. How are you doing?
So, this is what you've been doing all day. And I was busy thinking you're becoming useful with your life. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? You don't even have a job and you're not even bothered about it. Other men are busy buying gifts for their wives. And you, what What do I get? Absolutely nothing. You should be ashamed of yourself. Anyway, take my clothes to the dry cleaner. If the money is not enough, then you add it up.
Mom.
After all, you're my husband, Abby.
Right.
Then I soaked my underwears in the bathroom. I want you to wash them before I come back tomorrow. Take.
Take now.
Take this money. Sorry. Here. Sorry. Hey, let me check.
Excuse me.
Look at the way he was staring at me.
Imagine. I asked him to get me a glass of water and he's here drinking it.
And when I leave, then you can discipline him.
Okay.
I have something important that I want to discuss with you.
Go ahead.
Sex. It's been a while I had it. And my husband, he's not even trying to touch me again after the last time.
But what are you talking about? Demand it. If I want to have sex with Joe now, this is how I do it. Joe, I'm going to have sex with you today. And I need you to be neat. Like I need you to wash up.
Hey.
Hey.
I want to have sex with you tomorrow. So I want you to be energized and clean.
You now dictate to me, your husband, when you want to have sex.
I'm the breadwinner of this family.
You are the breadwinner of this family. Doesn't make you stupid. I was there for years. I bought this house. I got you the car you drive. This job you boast so much about today, I got it for you.
For now, I am the sunshine in your life. You're just worthless.
Calm down, you're in charge here, okay? Your husband is probably somewhere chilling and you're here panicking.
But he always takes my call.
Okay, but have you called any of his friends?
I don't know any.
Let me call you back. Okay, let me ask my husband and see if he knows something. He might just know.
Okay.
In the past, men's responsibilities were presented as a point of power, men living life on free mode, while women's responsibilities were presented as degrading at best. As women are taking up traditionally male responsibilities in the home, they're getting to understand the burdens that come with the same.
It can be really difficult to be a breadwinner in a relationship as a woman. I know times are changing. Notwithstanding, many women face a lot of challenges in their relationships when they are breadwinners. Issues can range from jealousy, verbal abuse, physical abuse, intimidation, even financial sabotage from hubby. The list is long. Issues like these make women afraid to marry men who earn less than they do, even when there is a lot of prospects in the guy or lots of prospects in the relationship. Many women who are breadwinners are very unhappy. Some feel used and unappreciated.
Women in the workplace, we know we're still battling equal pay, earning 82 cents for every dollar a man makes. But there's new information that says a man's stress level jumps if his wife earns more than 40% of their household income. So it's kind of like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. Did you make more? Do you make more?
Yes. I'm a lawyer. He was a civil engineer.
You say was.
Was.
What happened?
He stopped working. He became a rapper. And of course, I made more money than him. And he knew this when we were dating. And that was the cause of our divorce.
He was an engineer who became a rapper. Was he a good rapper?
He was talented, but didn't do it the right way.
Didn't do it, so he wasn't bringing in any money.
Nothing. But we know that men are defined by their income, and that has to do with how they feel about themselves.
But seriously,
and I do
you
understand
saw that.
Well, I tried to support him in it.
And it wasn't enough.
Well, it wasn't enough.
Apparently, listen to this study, a guy's support for his wife's career only goes so far, because a study of 6,000 American couples found that men stress out if she is the breadwinner of the family. So, almost all my girlfriends make more money than their husbands. Not all of them, but mostly. How do you feel about this? I mean, why men have an issue with this? The money's coming in. What do they care? Go ahead.
I dated a guy in college who was religious, and he told me that...
Is this the porn addict?
No. Okay, I've got a massive family, a lot of people in my crazy life. But he told me that if we were going to get married, that I wasn't going to work and I was going to have kids. And like, that's fine. People may, and honestly, I would be very happy being a stay-at-home mom too. But my husband's been very supportive. I do wonder, because my family's
this is the opposite.
So my family's very traditional, and so is he. And he always says I would be fine being a stay-at-home dad, or not even a stay-at-home dad, but just if you wanted to work and I didn't. I don't know that that's the truth, though.
You think he may
I feel like he might get insecure because he's been raised with, you are the breadwinner, you take care of. That's just the way that he was raised. So he might say that, but if I'm being totally honest, I don't know how comfortable he would be.
Okay. All I want is a man who can pay for dinner when he takes me out on a date.
That's right. That's true.
That's all. The rest I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Buy my wine. Buy my dinner.
But I mean, when you're married, all the money goes into the same pot anyway.
No,
right?
No.
No. Women in the audience are like,
no.
Sonny, I'm with you. Ours is all the
Well, but you guys got married when you were like 12.
Yeah.
When you're getting married at 47,
well, maybe that's, I just
your
see
money
it
is my money, my money is my money.
Oh, yeah.
Male breadwinner roles come from a point of societal expectation, essentially a point of obligation. Breadwinner roles for women is out of choice, hence accompanied by a sense of accomplishment and pride. As the number of male breadwinner families are on the decline, female breadwinning is being normalized, and the resultant social stigma is also declining. According to Pew, only 3.5% of married women in households with children were the primary breadwinner in 1960. This number was 15% by 2016. The share of dual-earner households went from 31% in 1970 to 46% in 2015. Today's fathers want to play a more active role in their children's lives, but those requiring them to do so aren't tasking mothers with the provision role to lighten the burden on providing men. At every income level, women's anxiety is greater than men's anxiety, but breadwinning men and women experience similar levels of anxiety. The feelings of economic dependence are different for men and women. Husbands feel liberated when they're supported by their spouse, while women supported by their husbands have a strange stirring feeling to that experienced by those who came before them.